What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Right now, I'm gonna tell you guys one thing. This is gonna be the last chance you have to creating massive amounts of wealth in a recession. And I'm gonna explain and break down step by step how you can take advantage of this opportunity to create wealth and to even add an extra zero to your net worth and to seriously evaluate what's about to happen.
They're picking sides, they're crossing the line. I stick to the truth, I'm one of a kind. Gave it a God and follow his sign.
I believe this recession that we're heading into is probably the last chance you're going to have. And let me explain. Number one thing you need to understand about this recession is we've had recessions for years in this country, and people act like it's a normal thing, and it is. However, take a look at what's happening right now. Is it already too expensive for you to be able to afford a home? Is it already becoming more and more difficult just to afford your current lifestyle? What we did to the dollar with the amount of inflation that we have done to our actual currency here in the United States is not something we're going to come back from, and we are just now starting to feel the effects of that kind of inflation. It takes a sec for it to actually take place. So you need to understand what that's gonna look like, because here's the truth. We've experienced a lot of corrections over the time, and this is typically a chart of what happens. And when you take a look at a chart over time, what you see is correction, correction, correction. And then what you see at the top is bubble, bubble, bubble. So that way you can understand that there's the top, which we just now experienced. And I am filming this video right now here in 2022. We have just now experienced one of the biggest bubbles in history. And that means we're heading for a really big downturn. How big is it? I'm not going to say, but at least you need to understand this is separation season. People create wealth not at the top when everything's highly inflated, but at the bottom when everything gets corrected, because everything goes on sale. Everything that actually matters goes on sale in a correction, and this is when the rich get richer. If you look back and you study the wealth that was created from the Great Depression or the wealth that was created from the Great Recession of 2008, it's astounding how many people rose from those occasions and created massive amounts of wealth. But here's what's going to happen. Normally, what happens is you see a recession in an economy and you see corrections, and I'm just kind of giving you guys an idea. You see these corrections at the bottom and the bubble pops, but look at this right now. What we just experienced right here at the top is, say this is 2022. We've experienced crazy high amounts of inflation and super overinflated pricing on stuff like real estate. Real estate is probably the best indicator out there of what's happening in our economy. And we're seeing prices like you can't believe. And this is how the middle class in any country dies. This is how a republic dies. They destroy the value of your currency, the dollar. They destroy the dollar because they overinflate it and overprint for it to be a mass scale, which then what happens is it makes the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, because the poor don't have their money in assets that get more valuable when inflation occurs. They have their cash actually stashed away in savings or in something else, or they barely have any assets. And so everything becomes overinflated and they get poorer and the rich get richer. And this is what I mean. We just experienced the highest pricing point in US history for home prices. But what's going to happen is going to happen a major correction. You're already starting to see it happen. You're going to see a correction in the pricing. But look what happens at the bottom of each bubble. Each bubble is still higher than the last. It doesn't go back down to base zero. It's going to be a lot higher. So really, let me just kind of break this down for you guys. So maybe the correction happens here compared to the last correction that happens, which was way down here. So you can see that the correction is still at a different level in regards to inflation. So yes, we're going to see a correction, but not to the extent of what we had in the past. Now, after this correction, what's going to happen is you're going to see a crazy influx. If you think prices are high right now, wait until after this correction for where prices are going to be and how it's going to skyrocket to the top. You need to be prepared to understand that this right here is your last chance. If you feel like it's difficult to afford a home making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year, or to pay for your family's expenses making $70,000 or $80,000 a year, let's break it down. You have kids, you have a family, you have a home, you have cars. Everything is more expensive, even at the grocery store. You can't escape the grocery store without paying $100 or $200 a time. And I remember growing up, it would be very normal for us to have a full cart and get out of the grocery store at just 80 bucks. Now it's 200 bucks per trip. And the average American is not going to be able to afford that now, which is why a correction is going to be an incredible opportunity for everybody to, again, correct. But what's going to happen after is it's gonna go even higher. So what's gonna happen is after this first correction here, I just kind of drew this out for you guys so it's a lot more clean. So say we have this correction, and then after the correction, we are gonna have a skyrocket in higher pricing, because after a correction, people start to get more aggressive, they start to, invest more, everything gets more inflated, and then the next correction can sometimes be above the last even peak. And so if you think prices are high now, every correction after this is gonna be even more difficult for you to be able to afford, even at a corrected state. So not only are you looking at an hyperinflated costs, I believe we have reached our ceiling. So anything after this point is gonna be above reach for the middle class. People are gonna struggle to purchase homes. Look at any other country that doesn't have a middle class. When you go to the slums, the poor areas, there's usually a lot of people living in very small condensed areas. This is why someone like Grant Cardone talks about apartment complexes and how those are the future, because the average American is not gonna be able to afford a regular home like we used to. They're gonna have to live in apartments, smaller condensed spaces, and sometimes even sharing apartments with other families, because it's too expensive just to afford rent, so you have to start sharing and splitting the cost. Whereas everyone else who was on the other side of it has ridden this wave up, and their wealth has been created. The people who don't worry about hyperinflation are the wealthy, because inflation makes them more wealthy. So what can you do about this? If we're about to experience this, I hope I can show you guys, if you really analyze the situation, you need to understand this is going to be one of the last times, if not the last time, you're really gonna be able to take advantage of this opportunity and add an extra zero to your net worth. So how do you do that? What is something you need to know for the next 2 to 3 years in order to take advantage of the situation? Maybe it's next 4 years, who knows? But let's say next 2 to 4 years, what do you need to start doing now in order to take advantage of this opportunity, one of the last opportunities for you to decide which side of the aisle you're gonna be on? Are you gonna ride the wave and become somebody who has a high net worth, who is riding the wave with the assets and the inflation so you can actually make a difference? Or are you gonna stay on the other side? That's up to you. But at the end of the day, here are the 3 things that you need to focus on. Number 1 is stash your cash. You have to start stashing your cash. And I'm not saying savings. What I'm saying is when people think of savings, they think of a long period of time. I'm telling you right now, you need to do everything and you possibly can to make as much money as possible and to become as liquid as possible in this moment of time, to go make more money, to sell off any assets that you currently have at the highest price right now. Because if you sell off your highest assets at the highest price, you're gonna be able to liquidate and be a lot more open to taking advantage of this opportunity. So it's time to get liquid with your assets. It's time for you to take advantage of this opportunity for you to stash your cash. So this is your moment to make as much money as possible and stash your cash. Do not spend your cash on all these other bullshit things. Stash it and get ready to start buying assets, because everything is about to go on sale. The number 2 thing you need to understand in order to take advantage of this opportunity that's about to come and to add an extra zero to your net worth in this next recession is buy real estate. You're stashing your cash, not just because you have this cash, you're stashing it so you can actually buy real estate. And not just any real estate. Do not make the mistake of just buying any real estate anywhere. Buy real estate in the South. Now, I need you guys to understand something. There's not some political thing. I'm not trying to get, blue state versus red state here. I'm gonna be completely open and honest with you. A lot of the southern states are going to have a lot more success and are going to be a lot more affordable, and it's gonna be a lot more viable moving forward for you to actually be able to afford these kind of homes in the South. We're talking Florida, we're talking Texas, we're talking Tennessee, we're talking Georgia, we're talking Alabama. There's some incredible opportunities happening down in the South, and I'm saying avoid places like New York, avoid places like California. This should be a no-brainer that you should avoid these states, because it is not going to be a viable asset moving forward. People are not going to be able to afford to live there. And so you're seeing this migration happening to the South. This is not some political thing. You can argue with me if you want to talk about Indiana or Minnesota or all these other states. I get it, but I'm just trying to give you a generic rule of thumb. Start studying the real estate in the southern states. Any of the southern states. Start studying the real estate and what's happening down there and the opportunities you're going to have in those states, as opposed to states like California, Oregon, Washington, and these other, New York, these other states is not going to be as viable option as opposed to you buying real estate in the South like like Texas and Florida, where there will be a lot more opportunity for businesses, for entrepreneurs, less taxes, more benefits to investors. There's a lot of things happening down there that you need to understand. So number 2 thing you need to understand is start studying and get ready to buy real estate in the South. The number 3 thing you need to understand about how to take advantage of this opportunity is actually to build businesses. Here's what I mean. What happens in a recession is a lot of people they can't stay on top of the opportunity that's happening in a recession. So a lot of businesses go out of business during a recession. What happens then is this open opportunity of a lot of workers searching for job opportunities. This is your moment to dive in and to create something that will actually make a difference in their lives, to actually have a business that can supply a job for people and provide that opportunity. If you can build businesses successfully during recession, if you have a business and you're willing to expand it, then this is your moment, because while everyone else is running for the hills and trying to play it safe, this is your moment to dive in deeper, because that's how wealth is created. When everyone else is running for the hills, you're the one who dives in. You buy when they sell, and they sell when you buy. That's the difference. That's the game of creating wealth, is you have to play what the rest of everybody's gonna do. The rest of the population, you cannot follow what they're doing. If something's ultra popular, then it's probably something you should wait on and stay away from. If it's something people are running away from, then that's your opportunity to dive in and fix it and make it better and provide opportunities that other people are not willing to do. People want to ride the waves, and if you're willing to go against that and to build something, then this is your opportunity. This is your opportunity to have more people applying at your businesses, working for you. If you can successfully create opportunities for them, you're going to make a lot more money during this time period. Your business is actually going to grow a lot more than if you were to actually go out of business. So this is your chance to build your business. So number 1 thing you need to understand is start stashing your cash. Start making more money. Start getting yourself liquidated in your assets. Again, it's your decision of what you do. This is not financial advice. This is my own personal experience, and what I'm choosing to do is to liquidate my assets and to have more cash on hand so I can be ready for the opportunities that's going to come in the next 2-3 years. Number 2 is start studying and buying real estate in the South. Not yet. Again, I'm filming this in 2022. I believe the opportunity is about to come in the next 2 to 3 years for you to start buying real estate. So start studying, start getting ready to start buying up deals. And if you find a good deal, real estate long-term is always going to win. But if you find a good deal in the next 2-3 years, you're going to be putting yourself in a really good position. Number 3, dive in deeper. Start building businesses. Start creating opportunities for other people who are going to need those opportunities. This is your moment to fix solutions, because here's how you add an extra 0 to your net worth, is if you can fix a massive problem. Millionaires are millionaires because they solve $1 million problems. Billionaires are billionaires because they solve $1 billion problems. And we're about to experience a huge problem, and this is your opportunity to solve that problem and become a millionaire and become a billionaire. This is your chance. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you want to see more of these videos, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like this video if you want other people to see it, and make sure you put in the comment down below if you have questions so I can help you understand more. We'll see you on the next one.